folks, this is Ramey here again. I'm an attorney. I'm a criminal defense attorney here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm in my office as we speak. And welcome to episode 2 of Know Your Rights. I did episode 1 last week. It was a great success. Many people liked it and commented on it. And so now here we are with episode 2. And in episode 1, what we talked about was the 3 big things you need to know about your rights. And I have them up here. And we talked all about these last time, and now we're going to talk about the first one more in depth. But before we do that, let's go ahead and review the 3 big things you need to know about your rights. Okay, folks, now we have a little bit closer of a look at my giant post-it note here with the 3 big things you need to know about dealing with law enforcement. And these are not only the things you need to know, these are the things that you need to be able to say to the police during a police encounter. And the first one, number 1, is I do not consent to searches. Number 2 is I am not answering any questions and I want to speak to an attorney. And number 3 is I do not agree to stay here with you for any reason. Are you detaining me or am I free to go? So now that we've reviewed the 3 big things, we're now going to concentrate on this lesson about number 1. I do not consent to searches. So let's replace the post-it note with a bigger look at I do not consent to searches. Okay, folks, here is the first thing you need to know about your rights and to be able to say to a police officer during a police encounter. And how much simpler can it be than this? Although, I don't know, for some reason, some people find it so hard to say this. But it is, I do not consent to searches. We do not consent to searches for any reason. There is no reason to let a complete stranger search your car, your house, your baggage, your pockets, anything, that even if you don't own it or not, I'm going to talk more about that here in a minute, there is no reason to give a complete stranger to search anything. There are no even ifs. I hear the even ifs all the time. Even if this, even if that, even if I know I have nothing to hide, even if he yelled at me, even if he threatened to arrest me, even if he said he'd arrest my uncle, my cat, my dog, my wife, my children. There are no even ifs to this. None. We do not consent to searches for any reason. There is no reason. Now, I have people tell me all the time, I guess they went to a better law school than me and they know it all better than me. Well, if you do it, it's illegal. No, it is not illegal, friends, to say I do not consent to it. It's not illegal to say anything to a police officer other than, I'll kill you or a threat or something like that. It's not illegal to say anything. If a police officer says, can I search your car? And you say, no, I do not consent to searches, that is not illegal. I've had people try to tell me, oh, well, if you say no, it's obstructing an officer, automatic, you get arrested for obstructing an officer. No, that is not true. It is not illegal, it is not a crime to say I do not consent to searches. Now, if you say I do not consent to a search and the police officer says I'm going to search anyway, and then you try to physically stop him, yes, that may be a crime. I'm not telling you to try to physically stop a police officer from searching something. What I'm telling you is, if you're asked, can I search something, you do not say yes, sure, go ahead. You say, I do not consent to searches. And I've always tried to make it very important to say the whole thing, because here's what happens. Sometimes they will say, do you mind if I search your car? And you say no. Does that mean no, you don't mind, or no, you can't search the car? So, if they ask you straight directly, can I search your car? Say no, but then say I do not consent to searches. If they put in there something about you don't mind if I do it, do you? Well, then be sure you say I do not consent to searches, because a yes answer or no answer can be misinterpreted purposely by the police. So, and this comes straight from the United States Constitution. It is your 4th Amendment right. Folks, it's the 4th Amendment. The Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution says, "The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized." Now, it is true in recent years, for many years, the courts have been watering down the Fourth Amendment, but they still have not watered down your right to say, "No, I do not consent to a search." And the police try to get around the Fourth Amendment by getting you to consent to a search, because they're concerned when they get into court. They may know right from the beginning they have no probable cause. They're just on a fishing expedition. Or sometimes they're worried about if they go ahead and search, they'll get to court, and I, as your attorney, will file a motion to suppress and win that motion, because showing they didn't have probable cause. So they'll just ask you right out, "Do you consent? Do you mind if I search your car? Will you consent to a search?" And 95% of my clients say, "Sure, go ahead, no problem." Why? I don't know. We need to learn that we do not consent to searches. Okay, folks, now let's talk about requests for consent to search and some things that come up from time to time, and we'll talk about this in a little bit more detail. The first thing we'll talk about is, if you give a police officer consent to search your car, it's not a trick. You're not committed to that. So first of all, let's say that the police officer misunderstands you. He said, "Do you mind if I search a car?" And you say no. And he goes, "Oh, you don't mind? Okay, I'll go ahead and search." Don't get tricked. Do not get tricked. You're not committed to the answer he thought. Well, you're not committed to the answer you gave in the first place, but you're not committed to the answer that he thought he heard. So if he thinks he hears you say that you gave him permission, and he starts to go search your car, you say, wait a minute. I do not consent to this search. Let me be clear. Let me make this perfectly clear. I do not consent to a search of my car. Now, something else that may happen. A police officer may pull you over, ask for permission to search your car. You're so scared, you're just terrified, you don't know what to do, and you just blurt out, "Yes!" And he goes off to search a car, and he goes and he puts his hand on the door handle. Or let's say he even opens the door and starts searching. You can withdraw your consent at any time. So, if you give a cop permission to search a car and he starts walking over your car to search it, and you start thinking, now what is that Ramey taught me in his videos and on his Facebook page and on the Know Your Rights card? What has he taught? What did he teach me? He taught me never consent to a search. And all this whole time the cop's walking over your car to start to search it. And then when the light bulb goes off, and that's when you say, "Wait a minute, hold on. I do not consent to a search." You can withdraw consent to search at any time. So if you say yes, and then you think about what I've taught you in these classes, then you tell the officer, "No, I do not consent to this search." So remember, you can withdraw your consent at any time. Other things that come up. Let's say you're a wife sitting in the passenger seat of a car. The husband's driving. You get pulled over. The husband goes back to the car, the police car. 5 minutes later, the police officer comes up and says, "Get out of the car. He gave me permission to search, so I'm going to search." If you have any claim on that car, even if you think you have any claim, even if it really doesn't matter, because you can always say no to consent to search. But more particularly, if you do have any claim, that will be something we can argue when we get to court. But if you have any claim on that car, you're the wife, you're married, it's the family car, your name's on the car, you're helping pay for the car. If you have any claim on that car, and again, it doesn't have to be ownership or that you're paying for it. If it's the family car and you're in the family, then you have a claim on that car. So the police officer comes up and says, "He gave me permission to search, get out." You say, "I do not consent to the search." "Well, he's already given me permission." Fine, I don't give you permission. And then whatever your claim on that car is, you need to say, "This car's half mine, this is the family car," whatever. Now, I mean, you don't actually have to say that, but it'll help. But the bottom line is, if you're in that car, make sure that you tell that officer you don't give consent to search, regardless of what he said. Same thing for houses. If the police open the doorstep, someone opens the door, and the police say, "Can we search your car?" And the idiot who opened the door says, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." If you have any claim on that house, if you're an overnight guest, if you co-own that house, if you're the wife, you can say, "I don't agree to a search. I'm not agreeing. I don't consent." Now, if you're a overnight guest, then probably all you can refuse to consent to is the room you're staying in. You probably can't refuse to consent to the common areas of the house. But anyway, we'll worry about that when we get to court. All these little intricacies don't matter. The bottom line is you say, "I don't consent to this search." Okay, now some other things that come up. I'm out driving my friend's car, and even my friend might even be in the car with me. Regardless if he's there or not, it doesn't matter. I'm driving someone else's car. The cop takes me back to his car and says, "Can I search the car?" I have these people say, "Well, I don't know. You'll have to ask the owner because I don't know. It's not my car." You don't say that. You just say no. No. Just say no. You don't have to go into this. "Oh, it's not my car. You'll have to ask the owner. I don't know." Just say no. No, you don't consent. You don't have to give a big long spiel about how it's not your car and you'll have to ask the owner and I don't know. No. You never consent to a search for any reason. And if you go giving consent to a search, and when we get to court, the search is automatically legal and there's nothing I can do for you. If you refuse to consent to a search, sometimes, I've had people report this to me all the time. They write me messages on Facebook or in an email. They say, "Ramey, I've been watching you, listening to you for a year or two. Let me tell you what happened. I got pulled over by a police officer. He gave me a citation, and he said, 'Can I search your car?' I told him no. He said, 'Okay, thank you, have a nice day,' and got in his car and left." And that happens. It'll happen sometimes. Now, other times they may say, "Well, okay, you don't consent to search. We're going to search anyway because we have probable cause." And they go ahead and search, and they find something, they arrest you. In your mind, don't say this out loud, in your mind, when they say, "We got probable cause, we're going to search anyway," in your mind to say, "Fine, go ahead." Don't say that out loud because that's consenting. You just say, "Fine, go ahead." Don't physically resist, but make sure you've said, "I do not consent." But in your mind, say, "Fine, go ahead." Then if they find something, then when we get to court, I can challenge that search. When the police say I had probable cause, I can challenge that because there's certain things they got to show for that probable cause. But when you consent, there's nothing. There is nothing I can do for you. You are done. The search is automatically legal and you are done. So, never consent to searches, not for any reason. Some other things that often come up is when you have a piece of property, such as a bag, or comes up a lot with ladies' purses, you have that property inside someone else's property, such as a house or a car, that person has stupidly given consent to search. So let's say you're a lady, you have a purse, you're in the passenger seat of a friend's car, your boyfriend's car, whoever, and you don't have any claim of ownership over that car, but you got your purse in there. You get pulled over, the driver goes back to the police car. 5 minutes later, the cop comes back and says, "Well, he's giving me permission to search. You get out right now so I can search this car." Well, you take your purse with you. Don't leave the purse there. If he tries to stop you from taking your purse, he says, "You just leave that right there." You say, "That's my purse. I do not give you consent to search that purse." Be sure you say that. Don't just leave your purse in there and get out and he starts searching the car and he doesn't know whose purse it is and he thinks he's been given permission to search the whole car, so he's going to get into your purse. You tell him, "That's my purse. I do not give you permission to search the car." This would be the same thing with if you got a backpack in the car, you got a suitcase or something in the back, and let's say you know there's no time, or it's way in the back, there's no time to try to take it with you. When that cop orders you out of the car, you tell him, "That's mine. That backpack right there, that's mine. I do not give you consent to search. That suitcase right there, that's mine. I do not give you consent to search." You know, same token for a house. You go over to a friend's house with a backpack. You're there for 5 minutes, and then next thing you know, cops are knocking on the door, and your buddy stupidly gives the police permission to search the house. Well, when those police come in, you tell them, "That is my backpack. That's my suitcase. I do not give you permission to search." So let's remember that, ladies. Never leave your purse in the car when a cop comes to search the car. And if he orders you to leave it in there, you leave it in there and you say, I do not give you permission to search. Same thing for any other kind of bag that you may have inside another area where someone has stupidly given permission to search. Alright folks, sometimes the police will make their threats. If you say, no, I don't consent to a search, they'll make their threats. Well, I'm going to arrest you. Well, I'm going to arrest your kids. I'm going to arrest your wife. I'm going to arrest your dog. I'm going to arrest your cat. Don't fall for it. There are no even ifs to this. We never consent to a search. Never. I don't care what threats they make. I don't care if they were mean and yelled at you. You never consent. Never. Now, one of my favorite things, well, we can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way. Yeah, well, whatever. They want to do it the easy way because they want you to consent because they just want to get the search done over with and arrest you and take you down to the jailhouse. You never make it the easy way for the cops. They want to take you downtown and lock you in a cage. If you want to make that easy for them, then you're a fool. They'll threaten to get the drug dog, or they'll threaten to go get a warrant. Whatever. I don't care what they say. You don't play their game and you don't fall for their tricks. If they say, we're going to go get a warrant, and I've had people tell me, well, I told them fine, go get a warrant. Don't ever tell them fine, go get a warrant. Because that makes it sound like you're agreeing to wait around until they go get the warrant. Don't say fine, go ahead. When they do that, the old, we'll just get a warrant, you just give them the dumb look. Or you just say it again, I don't consent to a search. Alright folks, that is that's rule number 1 of the 3 big things you need to know about your rights. And that's number 1, I do not consent to searches. In the next lesson we'll talk about number 2 in greater detail. And you need to remember, I have these cards that I mail out to anyone. They're my Know Your Rights cards. They have the 3 big things you need to know. Number 1 is I do not consent to searches. If you would like some of these cards, send me an email and let me know, and I'll put my email on the video. You send me an email requesting Know Your Rights cards, I will send some out to you. So you can keep them right there next to your driver's license, so when the cop comes up, you give him your license, you keep this right in your hand. You can read right from it. And if you're so terrified, so scared, you're shaking so much you can't even read from the card, just give the card to the cop. Say, here you go. I'm asserting my rights. Here. Anyway, as I said, I'm willing to give these out to anyone. All you have to do is ask. So anyway, that's been episode number 2, Know Your Rights. Thanks for watching, folks. Keep watching and keep exercising your rights, and always assert your very important, sacred constitutional rights when you're having an encounter with police, with law enforcement, with the police. And never for any reason waive your rights and tell a police officer he can search any of your property.